morning. It's 5 after 10 in Los Angeles.
morning, everybody. Welcome to City Hall, welcome to Council Chambers, and welcome to a meeting of the Los Angeles City Council for today, Tuesday, April 6, 2004. The City Council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. Meetings are open to the public, and we do invite you to join us. For members of the public unable to attend council meetings, we can be viewed live on your cable station, Channel 35. We can also be viewed live via webcast from the city's homepage or heard via council phone. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Cardenas, Garcetti, Gruel, Han, Labange, Ludlow, Miskowski, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Smith, Villaraigosa, Weisstein, Padilla, 11 members present, and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. The council is officially in session. Before beginning with the matters appearing on today's agenda, this is Tuesday and our first meeting of the week. We do have scheduled our Pledge of Allegiance. Let me recognize Mr. Cardenas at this time.
Please stand. Put your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, first order of business, please.
Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Labange moves and Mr. Smith seconds.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Reyes moves and Ms. Hahn seconds.
On the regular agenda, Mr. President, items 1 and 2 are items noticed for public hearing. They are findings of public convenience or necessity in Council Districts 2 and 3, and the recommendation on both the items is to grant the application.
Okay, members, items 1 and 2 now before us. I do not have requests from members of the public to address the council on these items. Public hearings are open, public hearings are closed. Members wishing to call either of these special, Mr. Zine?
I just want to move to approve item number 1.
Okay, and we do believe we have recommendations to approve both items number 1 and number 2. If there's no request for specials, let's open the roll on both those items, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Both of those matters are approved. Next item, please.
Next items are items for which public hearings have been held. Items 3 through 13. Items 3 through 6 are commissioners' appointments. Do you wish to hold those on the desk?
Let's hold commission appointments temporarily on the desk. But before then, let me acknowledge that I do not have cards from members of the public on items 3 through 13. To address the council, public hearings are open, public hearings are closed. Commissioners will be the first items that we get to after dispensing with consent items. On items 7 through 13, are there requests for specials? Items 7 through 13. Seeing none, let's open the roll. Mr. Labange.
Number 8, Runyon Canyon, please. I want to call that special.
Number 8, the call special by Mr. Labange. Items 7 and 9 through 13 still before us. If there's no further request for specials, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Those items are approved. Forthwith on number 9, please. Next item.
Mr. President, I apologize. Number 7, Mr. Ludlow wanted to be here today. He's ill. Can we continue that?
Okay, let's
Reconsider 7.
got
7
a
is
motion
the
for
Korean
reconsideration by Mr. Labange on item number 7. Let's open the roll on reconsideration, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Item 7 is now back before us.
Museum. Yeah, members, I'd ask this be continued. My colleague,
For
Mr.
how much
Ludlow,
time?
could be here.
For tomorrow, for Friday, for 1
Let's
week?
do it for Friday, just to
Okay.
make sure. Let's do it for
1 week from today.
1 week from today. Thank
That
you.
would be April 13th. Item 7 is continued. Next items, please.
Next items are items for which public hearings have not been held. Items 14 through 35. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Without objection, these items are before the City Council today. And again, members, I do not have requests from members of the public to address the council on these items. Public hearings are open. Public hearings are closed for items 14 through 35. Do we have any requests for specials? 14 through 35. Any specials? Seeing none, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Those are approved. Next items, please.
Next items, Mr. President, on the supplemental agenda, items 36 and 37 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration, and I believe there will be a substitute motion on item number 37.
Okay. Without objection, items 36 and 37 are before the council today. Colleagues, I do not have requests from members of the public to address the council on these items. Public hearings are open. Public hearings are closed. Requests for specials? 37
37 special.
by Mr. Cardenas. Leaving item 36. Any requests to call item 36 special? Okay, Mr. Parks calls item 36 special. Next item, please.
Going back to the items called special, items 38 and 39 are the closed session items. Do you wish to hold those on the desk?
Let's hold all closed session matters on the desk.
Then going back to the items called special, items 3 and 4 are confirmations to El Pueblo. Council committee meeting was held this morning, and there is a communication that has been submitted recommending approval. Public hearing has not been held.
Madam Clerk, before we get to items 3 through 6, let's take a public comment for today's meeting. We do have 3 speaker cards on non-agenda items. Council calls forward at this time Theopolis Hodge, followed by Nico and Theo Melanopoulos, and Aaron Burt.
I'm Theopolis Hodge. I reside at 1539 West 66th Street in the central part of the 8th District. There are abandoned cars at 60 at the Tinker and 67th Street, and they in front of 1549 West 67th Street, and I'd like to, for Councilman Parks to go over there and look at the cars and see if he can move them, because I had talked to LAPD about a week or two ago about moving them, and they didn't move them. So, and what can I do about getting them moved?
Okay, thank you, sir. I think we'll try to have Mr. Parks' staff attend to your request. At this time, let me call Nico and Theo
Okay, thank you.
Melanopoulos forward.
We are Nico and Theo Melanopoulos, 17-year-old co-founders of Kids Voice LA who live in Los Angeles.
We are very concerned about the recent rash of gun violence in Los Angeles. On Saturday night, a 4-year-old girl was shot in the head as she sat in a car. In the past 3 months in the San Fernando Valley where we live, homicides have gone up 64% when compared to last year this time. A 20-year-old college student, Karen Kedikayan, and a 16-year-old high school student were among the shooting victims in our community.
We come before you today to beg you to pass legislation that would limit the amount of gun ammunition available to the public. The total ban on the sale of all gun ammunition proposed has been drafted and currently locked in the Public Safety Committee.
Cities large and small throughout the United States limit access to guns and ammunition. Chicago, for example, has successfully banned the sale and possession of all guns and ammunition citywide for years now. We believe that it's within the power of this council to enact similar, meaningful gun control measures in Los Angeles, and we beg you to do so. Your city's children and young people are being shot to death in our city's streets, and you are the only people that can save us.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Aaron Burt.
Good morning. My name is Aaron Burt, and I'm here to ask for the assistance of each council member in helping me get a reimbursement from the Parking Violations Bureau. I have a package for each member minus Mr. Ludlow, who's already has one, and one for the record with regards to my dealings with the Parking Violations Bureau.
Let me ask the sergeant to take that from you, please. Sergeants.
Now, I've followed the rules and dictate of the Parking Violations Bureau with the administrative requests for review and financial disclosures, and at this time I've had nothing done. I've also been ticketed with my handicap placard, which I've bought into the office, showed them the placard and the card, and they told me that they would not reduce or delete the charges because I was contesting other citations. As each member, once you read the packet that I've left before you, you'll see that I've had much communication with various people from the mayor's office, along with some of the people that we don't see within the Parking Violations Bureau. And with the versus the various people in the council district with Mr. Ludlow's office, along with Nate Holden's office, and that's how long I've been going through this. So if I may, I'm hoping that I can get the council members to read the package that I have given and help me get monies back that I desperately need so that the Parking Violations Bureau does not put a lien on my income tax, which is now coming in. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you very much. This concludes general public comment for today's meeting. Now, Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Next items, Mr. President, items 3 and 4 are communication from the Chair of Arts, Parks, and Health Committee recommending approval of Ms. Patricia Nieto and Mr. Richard Vasquez to El Pueblo.
And as they're both coming forward, I want to thank them for being here. As has been announced, colleagues, we do have a committee reports recommending approval of these two nominees. Are there members wishing to be heard? Mr. Labange.
Yes, both of these fine citizens of Los Angeles came before our committee and spoke, and I'd like to ask them each to take a moment just to talk about their passion that is so important. Richard Vasquez comes from Highland Park. He's a lifelong resident, a Northern Leaguer, Franklin High School all the way, and but very passionate about his neighborhood as well. And also Ms. Patricia Nieto, who originally from Kansas City, comes here, is very involved, happens to live in the 4th District as well in the Silver Lake area, but is a lawyer, but also has passion for community. And if you could each discuss your passion for the birthplace of Los Angeles and to serve on this commission, I'd appreciate it.
Good morning. Well, as Councilman Labange stated, I'm originally from Kansas City, but as a transplant, I've certainly directed my passion towards Los Angeles. I've lived in the Silver Lake and Echo Park area since 1974. I'm excited about working with the other commission members, with the committee, and with Councilman Villaraigosa to promote the vision of El Pueblo, and I think it's a great honor, and I'm thanking you for that honor.
Thank you very much. My name is Richard Vasquez. I'm a lifelong resident of Los Angeles and Highland Park for the past 30 years or so. I am active in the Herman Neighborhood Association, and I have seen the transformation of many of Los Angeles neighborhoods, especially the historic neighborhoods in the Northeast area, and I'm very honored and looking forward to the opportunity of working with El Pueblo and bringing in some transformation there as well. And I'm very hopeful for the future there.
Members, these are two excellent nominations of Mayor Hahn for this very important commission to really work at our birthplace of Los Angeles, the importance of the birthplace of our city. I talked long enough to have the great councilman of the 14th come and share his thoughts on this, but I would highly recommend both these individuals to this commission. They know some of the things that I'm passionate about, education at the Pueblo, enhancing the Pueblo, trying to get more parking for the Pueblo, and making our circle of our community that all Angelinos find their way to the Pueblo, whether with a visiting friend or on their own expedition, goal line, otherwise, come to the birthplace of Los Angeles. Mr. President, I'd like to send the rest of my time over plus to the great councilman of the 14th.
Mr. Villaraigosa.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Whoa.
Thank you, Mr. President, members, and of course, thank you, Mr. Labange. I was actually doing an interview and I was talking about you, how much you love this city and what a great champion for this city that you are. And so thank you for stepping in and saying a few words about these appointees. I can tell you that I've known Patricia Nieto, Patty Nieto, for about 30 years now. She was 4 or 5 when I met her. I was a few years older. I can tell you that back then, and she continues to be an accomplished attorney, a graduate of the University of Kansas and USC Law School, that other school down the way. She's worked with young kids and juvenile justice issues. She's been a great community activist as well, and I'm just excited about having her voice on the commission that frankly is got a big responsibility, and that is the responsibility of ensuring that El Pueblo, the birthplace of Los Angeles, is a place where people come. It's a place where we celebrate our diversity. We have a Chinese American museum there, Italian Hall, the Mexican Institute there. We have an incredible array of culture, but we also need to create more vitality there. So we're excited about this appointment. You're going to do a great job, and we're looking forward to your leadership. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Reyes.
Thank you, Council President. I just rise to also support the two appointees. I've known Mr. Vasquez since his active days at UCLA. We go back quite a few years. And I've known he's been very involved with communities. But I have a question for both commissioners. You know, the county owns quite a bit of land across the street, underused land. And then we have this great dynamic of the Chinese American Museum. We have El Pueblo for what it is, a landmark, a historical location. How would you see working with the county in developing, knowing that there are plans there? Do you have any insights, any a vision in which you can see this area evolving to get a feel for your orientation? Can you share a few thoughts from each one of you?
Well, I think the fact that downtown is growing and developing is exciting to me because for all the years that I've lived and worked downtown, the one thing that I've heard from people that are from LA, born and raised, is that, what are you doing downtown? Now, that's not the question. Downtown is Los Angeles, I think. And I think that, that we can be, I'm certainly for being inclusive, bringing everybody in. I think it's exciting because we have a lot of resources that can incorporate the old, the Chinese, the Italian American, the Latino Mexican community, but also draw in people who have been born and raised here and who need to see the incredible historical development that occurred there. That's our history, and I think that we can do that.
Los Angeles is a vital part of America, and it is the face of America for the future. To have this, to have be the cradle of Los Angeles, Plaza Olvera and El Pueblo, it just brings everything together there. And working with the county and with the city and with all the institutions that are involved, I think that those things will come together as we put programs in place and initiatives from a cultural standpoint, from an artistic standpoint, also from an economic and so forth. We look at those things. Those things will all come together, and we'll certainly look to the county and utilize all the resources that are available there.
You know, the Olvera Street is sandwiched in between Council District 9, Councilmember Perry's district. It's in Councilmember Villaraigosa's. I'm right across the street. We have a great park being built just north of you. You have a GO Line station in Chinatown. You have residencies being built and planned on Union Station. You have a brand new high school being built just west of you. You've got the center just south of you. It's a tremendous place. I would hope that with your experience, and knowing the leadership that will come from both Councilmember Perry and Villaraigosa, that will, together myself, we can come together with a strategy that takes advantage of those empty parking lots on the weekends.
That's right.
That talks to how we take advantage of Union Station. It's a center regional transfer when you look at the heavy rail and light rail stations. There's got to be a way to bring another level of vitality to that historic location. And let's take advantage of those elements that we can leverage with. So I just hope with this new synergy, new blood, this new sense of compassion I'm hearing from you, that within the confines of term limits, that we can push as hard as we can. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you.
Mr. Cardenas.
Patricia and Richard, before I make a few comments about your leadership, I would like to welcome to the Chambers Assemblyman Marco Fireball, a leader for California and a friend to the city of Los Angeles. Former colleague of Antonio Viragosa and myself. We had some good times and some fun times overall up there. Tough work. Speaking of tough work, El Pueblo de Los Angeles Historical Monument, to be on that commission, quite frankly, is a challenge. I was on that commission, and I can tell you it's a very awesome place to be when you think about the history, the rich history of this city, and that's where it began, at least for the modern times of this city. But at the same time, because there's a lot of history there, you have to walk a fine line between respecting the relationships and all the history there and moving forward. For example, we happen to have a mural that is world-renowned, the Siqueiros mural, right there on the premises, and it has yet to be unveiled, and millions of dollars have gone into preserving that mural. And I think and I hope that it's going to fall onto your hands in this era, in these next couple of years, with your leadership and the council member from that district and the community together to bring that mural to light, because it has such significance, not only for the Latino community, but for the world. It's a permanent part of Los Angeles. Unfortunately, it hasn't been unveiled because it hasn't properly come to light. And that's going to be a major issue that I hope and expect that under your tenure on this commission, you're going to be able to help unfold that. Do you have any comments on that particular project?
Go ahead.
Well, I think that the Siqueiros mural is very, very important to the city of Los Angeles and to the county and to the whole region. I mean, it is been kept under wraps for a long, long time. I think the city is waiting for it to come back into public view. I think it will cause a lot of excitement. It will cause a lot of people to come and use El Pueblo and use Olvera Street who may not have used it in the past. And it would just be a lightning rod for new activity, for vibrancy. And it would certainly be a priority in my mind to move that project forward and do everything possible to get that up and going. It's a vital part of it.
Good.
I think that it would be a great opportunity, as Mr. Vasquez has stated, to bring in people that normally wouldn't come to Olvera Street, as we can see in Santa Barbara when they unveiled the mural there in the Santa Barbara Art Museum. It's drawn tremendous traffic, people that are in the art world but not necessarily into going to a cultural center which is geared more at tourists. And I think that it would be a great way to open up things and to have a lot of, not only the residents of Los Angeles, but people from all over the United States that would be excited about seeing this mural come to Olvera Street.
I appreciate your commitment, and I appreciate the fact that you're very well aware of what the significance of this mural is, and the fact that you look forward to enhancing and bringing it to light, literally bringing it to light. My son, who's only 9 years old, happens to be an artist, and I'm looking forward to the day. I pointed it out to him behind the shroud that it is. I pointed it out to him that there's a mural up there, and he kind of hard to believe that there's a mural and why is it wrapped up. But I look forward to the day that it is unveiled, because I want to take him there, because I think that it will inspire him to move further in the arts and to continue to be an artist. So I'm looking forward to that day for my son and also for millions and millions of people to come. So congratulations on your awesome responsibility. I know how seriously both of you take your responsibilities, and I think it's just an honor for the city to have you donate your time and what you bring to the table for this responsibility over at El Pueblo. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Viragosa?
Yes, Mr. President, members, I thought we were dealing with one appointee at a time, and so I got carried away with my 30-year friend, and I didn't say anything about my constituent. Friendship is great, but constituents are also very important to us, so I want to say a few words about Richard Vasquez. I mentioned that Ms. Nieto is a USC grad. Richard Vasquez is a UCLA grad, so we're obviously enjoying the fruits of those two great universities. He's a Coral Fellow, a constituent in the district. He brings to the commission a strategic marketing experience and focus that's going to be very helpful. So we have two great contributors here, two great appointees. I'm excited about the leadership that they're going to provide on our commission, and I'm looking forward to great things from both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Other members wishing to be heard? Seeing none, we're ready to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Congratulations.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for your service to the city.
Thank you so much.
Forthwith on both of those items, please.
Mr. President,
Ms. Perry?
I wanted to recognize a group of students who are visiting here, if that's okay. Can I do it now?
Perfect time.
President of the Public Works Commission, Valerie Shaw, has asked me to recognize students from the University of Southern California, Jesse M. Unruh Institute of Politics. And they are in City Hall today. I think they're in the back of the room there, observing our council meeting. They will spend about 3 hours today in City Hall as a precursor to their class, which will be taught at the University of Southern California in the fall, called the Real City Hall. And that class will be taught by our own President of the Commission, Valerie Shaw. Thank you very much.
Welcome to City Hall. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Next item is item number 5, and that's the Commerce, Energy, and Natural Resources Committee report recommending approval of Mr. Robert B. Simmons to the Board of Metropolitan Water District.
Is he here? If you can please come forward at this time. And once again, colleagues, we have a commission nominee before us with the committee report recommending approval. Members wishing to be heard, beginning with Mr. Cardenas.
Thank you very much. I had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Simmons and to be affected by his enthusiasm for water in this great city and this region. The MWD happens to be a very awesome place to take your responsibilities and, in this particular case, your free time. I don't know how you have free time with the job that I know you have, your day job, but I wanted to say once again in front of the entire city of Los Angeles, we appreciate the fact that you're willing to bring your talents and your enthusiasm to the issue of water. All I have to say is, I don't know if people realize it, but there was a very funny movie that my children and I watched together quite often called Waterboy. And there was a character in that movie that was really enthusiastic, I mean beyond imagination, so enthusiastic about H2O. And I have a feeling that the way you expressed to me your enthusiasm for H2O and being involved in the MWD is not paled in comparison by that character in that movie. And I mean it sincerely. It's wonderful to see your enthusiasm and the willingness that you have to make your commitment to us on this so precious and important commodity, which is water. I don't think that constituents understand the complexity and the responsibility that a community and a society has to make sure that we have clean potable water, clean running water coming out of our tap. And I'll tell you, I think it was, I forget who it was, but a very, very famous man said that water is whiskey's for drinking and water's for fighting over.
That was Mark Twain.
Mark Twain, absolutely. And until you understand the complexity and the seriousness of what water means to society, you really don't understand what he meant by that. But you understand it, and I'm glad that you do. So I hope that you do, in fact, have success in making sure that we have good water policy in our region, in our community, and thank you for taking on this task of giving up, I don't know how you have free time, but giving up your free time for us constituents. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Smith.
Yes, thank you, and congratulations on your appointment, and I look forward to working with you, and I need to work with you, and I don't know if you've been reading about it, but there's a problem in Granada Hills with a MWD facility and Little League fields there, and obviously water is extremely important, but so are our children, and so I want to come home and get your card. I want to work with you. I'd like to sit down and talk to you about that, and hopefully get your support in keeping the kids and the fields open if we can possibly find a way to work with Water and Power and the adjoining properties and find a way to solve this problem so that we don't have to throw kids out in the street, because they're an important commodity too. So congratulations on your appointment, and I hope we can sit down and talk in the
Thank you. Absolutely.
near future. Thank you.
I look forward to it.
Mr. Labange.
Mr. President, Mr. Simons, thank you. It was good to visit with you prior to council, and the words of Mr. Cardenas, the committee chair, is so important because of the history of this region. And members, I was just reading recently, and I just was with my family in San Diego, a wonderful visit to the animal park, the wildlife park, and also to the Legoland. But in the infrastructure and the history of this region, why are we different than San Diego and Los Angeles? Because we got one big thing, water. one big thing, water, and then also our ports and our rail systems work. Just tell us a little about your passion, because I was interested in our conversation, why you want to do this and what you see. And you can address the chair when you speak and make it easier.
Thank you. I was born in Los Angeles and raised in Arizona, where water issues are very apparent and very in your face. Moved back here, of course, to produce movies, and the movie business is sort of taking care of itself right now, and I turned 41 and realized that it's sort of a silly way to make a living, and I'm raising my 2 daughters here. I live here. We are living in a semi-desert. We're surrounded on 3 sides by desert and an ocean on the 4th, and I can't imagine anything more important than issues of water, and it'd be an honor to serve on this commission.
I appreciate there's a lot of dedicated engineers over at MWD as well as Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, and to get their information out to the public, because we do take certain things for granted, like when we turn a faucet or flip a switch.
Yeah.
And so that is an important aspect of it, and also to protect the needs of Southern California and the member agencies of the MWD, of which Los Angeles is the charter member. Thank you so much for your service to the people of Los Angeles and Southern California.
Ms. Gruhl.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too want to stand in commending you for your willingness to serve. George Kiefer, when you were appointed, called me and said, "This guy knows everything about water." And George is one of those people I respect very much. And so he spoke very highly of you and your ability and your history and your family's history on water issues. And so we're pleased that you're going to be part of kind of the extended city family on MWD, and know that, as you heard so many of us stand up and talk about, water is important to us. And important to, I think, our public policy issues, our agenda here. And so we look forward to hearing from you on other items, as well as us sharing with you some of our concerns as we move forward, and as you being on the MWD and representing the city of Los Angeles. So congratulations. Glad that you accepted this offer, and willingness to spend a lot of time and energy on improving our water system here in Los Angeles.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you very much, and let me join the chorus, Mr. Simons, and congratulations, and appreciate your offer to serve. I've also been hearing, almost everything about water, so let me ask you a question. It's not a trivial one, but what would be some of your agenda on water conservation as we're looking at what we can be doing, both from everything from what businesses we attract and how they use water, to some of our home use, some of the ways that we do landscaping and water retention in general, and what do you think we all can be doing a better job of in terms of promoting water conservation in the coming couple of years?
That's a terrific question. I feel strange sitting in front of such a august board and just shooting off my mouth. But part of the reason I want to get involved so aggressively with Metropolitan is to learn actually even more. But I do know that Metropolitan is spearheading a number of different programs, particularly with landscaping. A lot of people move here from the East Coast. Culturally, we've moved from the East Coast, and we carry with us that image of green, lush, parks and trees, and that makes sense when you're getting tons and tons of rainfall, but we don't have tons and tons of rainfall, and there are actual natural plant landscaping is really beautiful, and it's drought resistant, it doesn't use that much water, and if people were just educated and could realize that they can have beautiful, beautiful landscaping both along freeways, in their yards, everywhere, could save a lot of water.
Along those veins, we're actually looking at revising landscape ordinance right now. My staff's working on that to try to do more native species and stuff like that. So we'd love to coordinate that with you, see if the district could be involved too in continuing that. But as many have said, if we thought the power crisis was bad, wait till the water crisis comes. So we're looking for some real leadership. So we appreciate it from Water Board to the Water Board. Go get them.
Thank you.
Mr. Reyes.
Thank you, Council President. We've been doing a lot of work dealing with water management. We've been focused on the river as a major spine, if you will, of how we look at our regional water efforts. We have tremendous agencies like Department of Water and Power and MWD. Do you ever see a day in which both entities can actually start sharing a game plan to deal with one region, dealing with a water management strategy, given the complexities of our growth and our need to have our watershed focused on. Can you give me a point of view on that? Please hold my time.
Sure. I mean, that, again, part of, as a citizen of Los Angeles and being a representative of Los Angeles, we're in a strange situation where all the people live in the south and all the water's in the north. And, just juggling what seem to be competing interests between cities, agricultural environmentalists, seems, hugely complicate the issue. But I think part of the fun and stress will be in trying to resolve those things.
How many board of directors are there in the MWD?
36.
So you're one of 36?
Yes, one of 4 from Los Angeles.
Okay, well that puts that in perspective. Okay, thanks a lot.
Other members wishing to be heard? Seeing none, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you for serving
Thank
the
you.
city. Forthwith, please. Next item.
Next item is item number 6, and that's a Transportation Committee report recommending approval of Mr. Jesus R. Ochoa to the Board of Transportation Commissioners.
So, welcome Mr. Ochoa to the center table. And again, colleagues, we have a committee report recommending approval of a commission nominee. Are there members wishing to be heard at this time? Beginning with Mr. Zine.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning.
Morning.
Where do you live?
Woodland Hills.
All right, good area. Seldom do we hear that. It's a pleasure to see you again.
Thank you.
Transportation, major problem. You serve on the MTA Governance Council, correct?
For the San Fernando sector.
Okay, which is where you live and where
The
I
San
live.
Fernando Valley, yes.
And many of our constituents live, and we have to continually fight that 101 corridor, east and west. And I know that the MTA is building an Orange Line, which we may change the name because I don't think a lot of people will support the name Orange Line in the San Fernando Valley. But that rapid bus that we're going to be putting on along Chandler Victory, you as a commissioner have a lot to say with the Department of Transportation how they're going to resolve problems. And you've got a military background with the Marines and the Navy. So you can get things done. So tell me what you're going to do to help me and everyone else from the West Valley in transportation. I know we've got other areas of the city that have transportation problems, but I'm particularly concerned about where we have the worst situation, the 101-405 corridor, where that intersects. Among Mr. Labange's talents, he's a sound man.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. What ideas do you have to help bring that about? Getting people in public transportation seems to be a challenging task, and many people don't want to utilize public transportation. But with your experience and insight, knowledge, and ambition, can you give me some idea of what you do to help me and everyone else?
I think one of the things that we have to realize is that mass transit is one of the key elements for the economy of this area. And although I don't have all the information yet about the LA Department of Transportation, I don't have all the issues yet. I have a lot of experience trying to find answer and working with people towards finding the best solution for any problem. And I think that's what I'm going to do. First of all, I'm going to try to get as much information as I can, try to find different sources, bring those sources together, trying to find the answers to this problem.
Because it is a problem, you agree?
I do agree, and as I said, one of the key elements towards keeping Los Angeles in the forefront is to focus more on mass transit, because eventually we're going to have too many cars, a lot of people, and not enough roads to travel with those cars.
And I think some of us think we're at that stage now. Just one more item that I want to add is bandit taxi cabs. We've got a tremendous problem in this city with bandit taxi cabs, and it comes under Transportation Commission. So when you get into that commission, start doing the work of that commission, please find out what we're going to do to help the taxi industry, the legitimate taxi industry, that's being plagued and eaten up by the bandit cabs that proliferate the city and take fares away and revenue away from the city of Los Angeles. That's another hot item that we have to contend with, is not only the transportation issues, but under the Transportation Commission, bandit taxi cabs in Los Angeles.
If I'm not mistaken, I think there is a separate commission for taxi cabs, but I will work with that commission towards that goal.
But there is, but some of it links over with some of the transportation inspectors and investigators. But it's just about quality of life and afford everyone the quality of life and transportation so we can get around our destinations. You probably woke up at 5 o'clock this morning to get here on time, but the traffic wasn't as bad today as it normally is because it's the spring break.
Right.
But if it was during the normal process, you'd be waking up earlier to get here in time. So welcome aboard.
Thank you.
And thank you for living out in that West San Fernando Valley. I know you used to live in the East San Fernando Valley, did activities there, and welcome, and it's a good addition to have you on that commission, and I hope you'll get confirmed. At least I'm going to support you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Cardenas.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your willingness to continue to give up your time, Mr. Ochoa. I know that you are definitely committed to the San Fernando Valley and the community of Los Angeles, and I also want to personally thank you for your commitment to our country, as you're a member of the Reserve and you're very dedicated, and I've known you for many, many years. So when the mayor's office asked me if we had anybody in mind who knew anything about transportation and maybe was from the Valley and wouldn't hurt if the person was a Latino, etc., I thought of you, and I want to thank you so much for honoring us with your willingness to serve and to lend your expertise to the very important issue that Mr. Zine was just discussing with you openly about what are you going to do for the West Valley, what are you going to do for the Valley. Basically, the one thing that we all understand, those of us who've had to deal with transportation, every time you fix a problem locally when it comes to transportation, you're benefiting the entire community. When somebody gets stuck in traffic passing through Pacoima and they're trying to get to Santa Ana, it's a regional problem. It's not only a local problem. When somebody is trying to get down Van Nuys Boulevard and get over to Sherman Oaks or back and forth to Van Nuys, it's a regional problem. It's just not a local problem. And I know you understand that, and I want to thank you for bringing your expertise and continuing to donate your time in so many ways. So thank you so much for all that you've learned, and thank you for lending that to us as a volunteer for the city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Villaraigosa.
Yes, Mr. President, members, as Chair of Transportation, I had an opportunity to interview with and talk to Mr. Ochoa, and I find him to be a breath of fresh air and someone who has been committed to working in this community in a broad array of areas and activities. I think he's going to bring a community perspective to this issue, a working person's perspective that's very important. Coming from the Valley as he does, he's going to have a specific knowledge about the particular issues that are endemic to the San Fernando Valley in terms of transportation issues, and I look forward to working with him in his capacity as a commissioner. And just to clarify, Mr. Zine, the commission that deals with bandit taxis is the Taxi Cab Commission, and our committee is working on that issue as we speak, because as you say, it is a very, very important issue in the city. Thank you, Mr. Ochoa. Thank you.
Mr. Labange.
No, thank you, Commissioner DeBee, and I look forward to it. On the 28th of April, there's a City Council meeting, a committee regional meeting of council members along the 101 corridor. Councilmember Gruhl is hosting this at the Lodge, Sportsman's Lodge on Coldwater, and it's to focus on traffic issues on the corridor. We hope you could attend. And we're also going to forward you the work of the Citizens Commission on the 101 to look at things that we could realistically do within the right-of-way to make improvements and remove choke points so the freeway could flow much better. But thank you very much for your service to the committee. I want you to keep that date open. Hope you can attend.
I will.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. Other members wishing to be heard? Seeing none, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you for serving the city. Forthwith on that item, please, all commission confirmations going forthwith today. Madam Clerk, next item.
Next item, Mr. President, item number 8 was called special by Councilmember Labange.
Mr. Labange. Item number 8.
Thank you, Mr. President. Is anybody here from Recreation and Parks on this issue? Thank you, Sergeant. You're very good, Sergeant. Members, this is a sunrise to sunset proposal. I just wanted to make sure, because believe it or not, as we all will remember, we had daylight savings this week, so the sun now sets an hour later, and I want enforcement to take place 1 hour after it's listed. So those who do take walks in the evening after work to enjoy their public parks, they don't find that once the sun sets into the ocean or into the sunrise, into the sunset, that they find they get a citation. That this takes place at Runyon Canyon and other facilities that have parks adjacent, parking adjacent to that, so they get it properly enforced. But anyway, members, I wanted to bring to the attention. I did want someone from Recreation and Parks here. What's the schedule? Is the schedule heavy tomorrow, Mr. Chair?
Heavier than today, that's for sure.
Heavier than today, tomorrow? All right, there'll be another one of these coming to committee we'll make more of a point on. But sunrise to sunset is an important aspect of protecting our resources and the use of the park, and the enforcement to take place 1 hour after sunset. If sunsets at 6:51, then the sunset, then that enforcement should take place at 7:51. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. Other members wishing to be heard on this item? Seeing none, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved. Next item, please.
Item number 36 was called special by Councilmember Parks.
Mr. Parks.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I got my questions answered, and so we can vote on 36.
Any other members wishing to be heard on item 36? If not, then let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved. Next item, please.
Item number 37 was called special by Councilmember Cardenas, and there is a substitute motion that has been distributed to the council members.
Mr. Cardenas.
Thank you very much, members. I just wanted to recall all of our memories to the fact that stone houses in the community that basically traverses Wendy Gruel's district and my district are kind of like a part of our past out there in the community. They're very unique homes that literally were built with stones that look like they brought them out of the reservoirs because they're nice and rounded, et cetera, and they bring a unique structure and character to the homes that have been built. And this is an opportunity that the city of Los Angeles has taken to take that past and meld it with the present and make a community center for the children in the community out there in the Sun Valley area. And this is something that was actually introduced by 2 council members ago, and this is something that I'm hoping that we will be able to get off the ground and be able to complete the project so that the community can have that community center and we can actually preserve that history, that unique history that only is in that part of the Northeast San Fernando Valley. So I just wanted to remind you that this is something that's been going on for many, many, many years, and something that I hope that we're able to do in our tenure here as colleagues here on the council. So I just wanted to move this item forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cardenas. Other members wishing to be heard? Seeing none, let's open the roll on item 37, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved.
And that is the substitute motion.
Next item.
Next item, Mr. President, there is a card on the closed session. Do you wish to take the card before going into closed session? And there is also a special one on the desk.
Okay, let's take special one first, then housekeeping, then we'll hear from members of the public wishing to be heard on closed session matters. Special one.
City Attorney will speak to the findings.
Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will recite the facts as presented to me by the maker of the motion for the council's consideration of the adequacy of the findings. This morning, 2 people were shot and killed and 2 others critically wounded in a shooting at Nickerson Gardens. A reward offered has been requested to apprehend the suspects. Council must first make findings pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.2 before considering the substantive motion.
Anybody wishing to be heard on the findings? Ms. Perry on the findings?
No, all right. No, you're right.
Mr. Garcetti on the findings? If not on the findings, then let's open the roll on the findings, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Special one now before us. Ms. Perry.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Ms. Hahn, oh, she's still here. Yeah, you're still here. I'll defer to her, and then I'd like to speak next.
Okay. Ms. Hahn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm on my way out to a briefing right now at Nickerson Gardens. I was awoken early morning today with the bad, tragic news that two people were brutally murdered in Nickerson Gardens. Two more are, one is hanging on to life and not expected to live. Execution style, came into their home in the early morning and just shot them numerous times. It was absolutely tragic. I am introducing this as a Rule 23 today because it's a reward. We, of course, as always, need the community to help us find these perpetrators, find these violent people, and try to take them off the streets, so hopefully by the end of the day. So I need your support, colleagues. And then the bigger issue is I need some help as we come into the summer on what we're going to do about the violence, particularly in the housing developments in my district. So I'm on my way out right now, but I would appreciate the support of this reward motion.
Ms. Perry.
Great. Thank you very much. And I also wanted to rise in support of Ms. Hahn, as I share the same issue, unfortunately. 77th Division, which Mr. Parks and I share, has the highest rate of violence in the city, and it breaks my heart when we hear statistics about how crime is going down in the rest of the city. And as Mr. Parks and I well know, the people who are in 77th are not feeling the benefits of that. Just yesterday, I was with the father of the 4-year-old child who was shot in the head while sitting in her baby seat in the back seat of her car while her little brother sat next to her. Dad had driven the family to a local store so the mother could go in and do some shopping, and she was shot in the head in the middle of a crossfire. So Ms. Hahn is right, and we are suffering from unprecedented violence. And as we move forward in our budget deliberations, we are going to be very strong on asking our colleagues to help us help the people we represent through the Housing Authority and through any means that are available to us. We're going to have to be very, very, very creative and very flexible. Thank you.
Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And let me first say that Janice Hahn, who represents this area, colleagues, it's not often that you see a colleague tear up here on the floor. I know that she is devastated by what is happening, and there is no stronger proponent of safe communities than Janice Hahn, and it breaks my heart to see what she is going through. And I think we all colleagues must redouble our efforts to make sure that what is happening right now, Nickerson Gardens and in some of our public housing, is brought to a permanent end. It is abhorrent. It is totally unacceptable that we have public housing, which we are given the power by federal government to be in charge of right now, that young people, seniors, and anybody in between are getting mowed down. And I think that we can't stop, and I know we've talked with a number of folks, we can't stop until we build something that's completely different than what exists there right now. This happened in east side of town or east of downtown, Pico Aliso, when we've said the model that existed there simply did not work and the housing was so bad that we had to start anew. That is what it's going to take. Today we need this to make sure that these perpetrators are brought to justice, but we have police that are scared to go into this project right now. We don't have housing police anymore who are there to protect people, and we have a lockdown where literally you have people who are living in these areas who are scared for their lives. They come home, they lock their doors, and they pray that they won't get gunfire hitting them. We have ceded control of some of our public housing projects to the worst criminal elements in this city, and we must, as a council and a city, come together and say no. And if it takes each one of us going down there and marching with Ms. Hahn, if it takes each one of us going to the federal government and asking their help for how we can do some other project and start with a clean slate, we must do that, because there are simply people there who fear for their very lives. And when we talk about safe neighborhoods, you have no idea how unsafe a neighborhood can be till we go to that public housing. Throughout the country, they've changed that. We've seen Cabrini Green and other places come down throughout the country. Maybe we'll have to bring this one down too. But I want to thank Ms. Hahn for her leadership, for her heart, and challenge each one of us to match that too.
Mr. Zine.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to comment on the fact that since the housing police have been removed from service, the problem seems to be getting worse. And I do wholeheartedly support this reward. I think this is just one of the many rewards that we've issued for crimes of great violence in that section of the city. And I know it troubles us all that it's not getting any better. So I would support this and going to work with Janice Hahn and try and find out what we can do to help bring back a sense of order for those projects, developments that we have in that part of the city where the gang influence has seemed to grow stronger and the violence has gained and innocent people have become the victims over and over again. So and I spoke to Councilmember Janice Hahn this morning regarding it, and it was very troubling for her, and these victims are not, to our knowledge, involved in any illegal type of activity, but just innocent people that were terrorized by this activity. So there's definitely a need and a concern to figure out how we're going to provide protection in that part of the city. The LAPD is strapped for resources, and since the housing law enforcement community was evaporated, there seems to be a void that has to be filled. And I will be working with Councilmember Hahn and also Councilmember Misikowski to see what we can do to help bring about a semblance of order and safety for that part of the city. Thank you.
Mr. Labange.
Thank you. And obviously, it was a tragedy, but as all members have spoken, I think the time has come, and we should talk to Ms. Hahn and also talk to Antonio as they changed Pico Aliso. And I know we have a new housing director. I know if I'm out of line here talking on this, Mr. City Attorney, but some neighborhoods of the city benefit by having a fenced-in area that protects the comings and goings of people. And these housing authorities maybe need that opportunity to have the same thing that you see off of Mulholland Drive in the Santa Monica Mountains, where there's a gate to get into and some checkpoint. And I would like to say that we discuss that. And I don't know if I'm out of line, Mr. City Attorney, on that, but I want to stand to support that concept of trying to provide some protection, because some people in the city have it, and we should have it in all parts of the city. And it's a tragedy what happened this morning in Nickerson Gardens. And it's a tragedy that we have no housing authority police anymore. And it's a tragedy that our police officers are being attacked if they drive down a street. But we have to try to stop the tragedy by providing opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. Other members wishing to be heard on special one? If not, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved. Forthwith, please, on special one, and also request forthwith on item 36 and item 37. Next item, please.
Council has motions for posting and referral,
Motion shall be posted and referred.
and that clears the desk for closed session.
Okay, before going into closed session, we do have a speaker card for item 38. Council calls forward Mr. Cliff Ruff at this time.
Yes, council members, the Protective League is in support of the command officers and the chief fire officers obtaining their contract negotiation settlements. The 11,000 retired men and women from the fire and police departments cannot receive their health subsidy until those two contracts are resolved, and they're on fixed incomes and the medical costs have gone up. The stalling of these two contracts for less than 200 people is severely impacting 11,000 retirees, and we would appreciate your consideration in this matter. Thank you.
Thank you. This concludes public comment for item 38. And unless there's anything further, Mr. Zine?
I'd just like to ask that representatives of the Police and Fire Command have a brief presentation as we go into executive session.
We'll handle that in closed session.
Thank you.
Any other announcements or business before adjourning into closed session? Ms. Misikowski. Forthwith on item 35, please. And unless there's anything else, according to, in conformance with the state law, the council will now adjourn into closed session. Sergeants, would you please clear the chambers?
coming back.
Irv? Here we are. We're back.
Yes, Mr. President, members, I'd like a moment to make an introduction. Earlier, we had the honor and pleasure of introducing the former majority leader of the California State Assembly, distinguished Mr. Marco Firebaugh. And now, I'd like to make the presentation of the former Speaker Pro Tem of the California State Assembly, Fred Keeley, who's here with us.
Mr. Keeley, welcome.
And I'd like to say something about both individuals. You know, in this era of term limits where all of our representatives are ships in the passing night, it is, I think, a great evidence of the need for a change in term limits that we have two distinguished people of their caliber. Having worked with both, I can tell you they're two of the finest legislators in California, and to see one almost at the end of a 6-year term and the other termed out is for me a real shame. So I want to welcome them, give them a big hand. Fred Keeley, former Speaker Pro Tem, and former Majority Leader Marco Firebaugh.
Thank you, and welcome to City Hall. Madam Clerk, next item.
Mr. President, there is still item number 39 that is on the desk before council. It's a settlement in the case of City of LA versus Leo A. Daley, and that's approving the city attorney's recommendation to accept a settlement offer of $100,000 from the Leo A. V. Daley.
Open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That item's approved.
And that clears the desk.
Any housekeeping items?
No, those were taken care of before closed session.
Announcements, colleagues? Councilmember LaBonge.
Just remember, all the listeners, because of the change in daylight savings, to check our smoke detectors in our home. Spring forward, fall back. If you're an hour late, that's because you didn't change your clock, Dennis. But to check our smoke detectors as the fire department as remind us every time, every 6 months. Thank you.
Mr. LaBonge, so we don't confuse our viewers, that happens Sunday. It's now Tuesday.
I know. You were late for council, Dennis.
Any other announcements? Mr. Parks.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just one announcement, the 8th District, the LA Unified School District Site Selection Committee meeting this evening at the Martin Luther King Elementary School located at 3989 Hobart at 6 p.m., looking to select a site for the K through 8th grade school for the South Region Site Selection Committee meeting number 2.
Thank you, Mr. Parks. Any other announcements? Adjourning motions, please rise for adjourning motions. Councilmember LaBonge.
Yes, members, Tamara Thomas, 63 years old, who was very involved in the art community and business community, passed away unexpectedly on a business trip to San Francisco. You may all know her great daughter over at Trax Restaurant, Tara Thomas, and I asked that we adjourn in her memory. She is a known artist who appreciated public art, was able to discuss that for many years and push ahead that concept of how important public art is to a city, is to a community. Tamara Thomas is survived by her husband, as well as her daughter Tara and her son Kirk, all of Los Angeles. I ask that we adjourn in her memory.
Councilmember Miskowski.
I'd like to ask the council to adjourn in the memory of Pierre Koenig, who is an incredibly well-known architect. He's probably known for the most stylistic house that has ever been shown and represented throughout Los Angeles, with that great Julius Schulman photo of the two women in the 50s sitting in this glass-encased house overlooking the whole city. Pierre Koenig was the architect of that house and one of many architects who were involved in the famous period in Los Angeles, the case study houses of the 1950s and 60s that were made famous by Julius Schulman. But they are houses today that you can still go and see and hold up marvelously, marvelously well. partly because of the materials that were used and the concepts. The architects who were involved in these houses believed you could use industrial quality material, prefabricated material, and make really, really nicely done architectural statements very, very inexpensively. And these were meant to be models for house building. And as we look today at issues of housing costs and the need to provide housing, these people did show us the way in the 50s and 60s. Pierre Koenig worked with such figures as Charles and Ray Ames, Raphael Soriano, Craig Elwood, and he was one of the key figures that helped make LA a laboratory for housing in mid-20th century. He is, at the end of his life, he returned to teaching. He was educated at USC and in fact designed and sold plans for design for his first house while he was still an architecture student at USC. But he was part then of teaching, dealing with some of these same ideas for today's young crop of architects and really making the profession an important statement in our city. There was a show at the Museum of Contemporary Art just about 2 years ago called Blueprints for Modern Living. And again, I know that we had many, many developers and architects at that show looking at the kind of work that Pierre Koenig and others had done for the city. He is going to be very, very missed, much missed, but his imprint on this city will be everlasting. He is survived by his wife Gloria, sons Randall and Jean-Pierre, and two stepsons Barry and Thomas Kaufman.
Councilmember Parks.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to adjourn in memory of Vernon D. Nathan, who was born April 10th, 1927 in Winkler, Texas. He passed away at the age of 76 on Wednesday, March 31st. He's the father of LAPD Lieutenant Evangeline Nathan. Mr. Nathan served in the military in both the Army and the Navy, where he received a honorable discharge. He moved to Los Angeles in 1950 and he started his own business, the Vernon Nathan Trucking, which he had in existence for 40 years until he retired. He's a Mason, also a long-term member of the Upper Room Christian Church, where he's a member of the usher board. His funeral service will be held at the Upper Room Christian Church on Thursday, April 8th at 11 a.m. He will have a second service in Curran, Texas on April 10th. He leaves his three daughters, Evangeline, Lori, and Vicky, and a host of other relatives.
Second, Ms. Perry. Yes.
I'd like to make two adjourning motions. The first is for Star Daniels, who was a lively, vibrant woman who truly loved life, cherished her family, and reveled in the camaraderie of her friends. She was an optimistic and joyful person who touched the lives of her co-workers with a warm smile, a professional work ethic, and a caring spirit. She served the city of Los Angeles for approximately 2.5 years in the capacity of clerk typist for Lacer's Death Benefits Processing Unit, and consistently offered compassionate and professional service to our members and their loved ones at what would be considered the most difficult time. Prior to her service with the City of Los Angeles, Star bravely served her community as a firefighter and EMT in the City of San Diego. She was an active volunteer in her community, coaching track for Mickey's Missiles, and was a board member for the Skyline Pop Warner Football Association. Her hobbies included jet skiing, gardening, and traveling. She leaves to cherish her memory her husband of 20 years, Gerald Daniels, her children, Charmaine Marie Daniels and Gerald Wayne Daniels II, her grandson Galante Jamari Daniels, and her father, Henry Lee Frio I, and a host of other relatives, friends, and co-workers. Services were held in February in San Diego. Second adjourning motion is for a lady some of you may remember, and she was famous for many, many years. She was Thelma Becker, and she was a businesswoman who checked into the Biltmore Hotel in downtown Los Angeles in 1940 and stayed there until she passed away last month at age of 90. She was well known and loved by all who knew her, and she was a local celebrity at the Biltmore Hotel. She was an assistant sales manager for Barbizon Lingerie in the early 1940s. She pioneered the career women's lifestyle, traveling regularly and meeting with buyers in the downtown LA retail and garment districts. And the Biltmore was a convenient place for her to work. In a 1990 interview, she called herself a city girl at heart. Through the 1950s, she was one of a number of full-time residents who stayed in a small room in the hotel with a Murphy bed and a tiny closet. Over the years, she got to know all of the employees, some of whom thought of her as family. Her living arrangement attracted a lot of attention to her as well as the hotel, and newspaper articles about her caused many guests to make inquiries about her and come and visit with her. Many people took pictures with her and became lifetime friends. Many times she led tours through the historic building, telling guests about the intricate history of the building and some of the hotel's famous guests like the Beatles or John F. Kennedy. New employees at the hotel were introduced to her as part of their regular orientation. She was always invited to the annual staff Christmas parties. She lived in a tiny room near the elevator on the 5th floor. It was filled with photographs and rolling racks of clothing that didn't fit in her closet. On her 80th birthday, one of the more luxurious rooms of the hotel was named in her honor, the Thelma Becker Suite. When she retired in 1975, the hotel management fixed her nightly room rate at $33 with a $5 charge per meal at the Biltmore Dining Room. And she will be missed by all who knew her and will always remain a part of our city's great history.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Good afternoon. We are adjourned.
You are watching LA City View, Channel 35. Your city, your channel.
We now join our scheduled program in progress.